13 minutes. That's all it took for Patrice Endres to vanish from her dream salon in the middle of a workday. Her lunch still warm in the microwave, her keys on the desk, her next clients walking through the door to find nothing. Just an empty chair, an open cash drawer, and a car parked at the strangest angle. In 13 minutes, a woman disappeared into thin air, leaving behind a husband who claimed to worship her, a son who knew better, and a mystery so twisted that serial killer's confession couldn't solve it. If you've ever wondered how the truth can hide in plain sight, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button because this story will take you through one of the most haunting unsolved abductions in American history. Smash that like button and drop a comment with your theory. Let's uncover what really happened to Patrice Endres. April 15th, 2004. Tax day. The sun hung high over Cumming, Georgia, sharp shadows across the parking lot of Tamber's Trim and Tan Salon. Inside, the scent of hair products lingered in the air, mixing with the faint hum of silence that shouldn't have been there. When two regular customers pushed open the door at noon for their scheduled appointments, they expected to see Patrice Endres, bright smile, skilled hands, the woman who turned this salon from a vision into reality. Instead, they found a ghost story in progress. Patrice's purse sat on the desk, undisturbed. Her keys lay beside it. In the back room, the microwave held her lunch, still warm to the touch. Through the window, her car sat in the parking lot, but something was wrong. It wasn't in her usual spot. It was parked at an odd, hurried angle, as if someone had left it there in a panic. Then they saw the cash drawer, empty, wide open, violated. These weren't strangers walking into a crime scene. These were women who knew Patrice, who'd sat in her chair month after month, heard her dreams and struggles. Their instincts screamed that something catastrophic had happened. They didn't wait. They didn't second guess. They dialed 911. Within hours, the search for Patrice Endres began, and with it, an investigation that would expose family secrets darker than anyone could have imagined. Owning Tamber's Trim and Tan wasn't just Patrice's job, it was her identity carved into reality. She'd poured her heart into every detail. Her husband Rob had been right there beside her, helping purchase the space, funding the remodel, building it into the perfect sanctuary. On the surface, they seemed like partners, a team. Rob would later describe their relationship with words that dripped with devotion. He doted on her, loved her with every fiber of his being, couldn't imagine life without her. But Patrice's son Pistol told a different story. So did her family. So did her friends. According to them, Rob wasn't devoted. He was not loving, not supportive. They painted a picture of a man who tracked Patrice's every move, who demanded to know where she was at all times, who couldn't stand the thought of her having a life that didn't revolve entirely around him. The word they used wasn't love, it was possession. And according to those closest to Patrice, she'd had enough. She was planning to leave him, planning to file for divorce, planning to reclaim her life from a marriage that had prison. Rob denied all of it. In his version of reality, they were happy. Patrice was devoted. She was the love of his life, and he was hers. There was no trouble, no plans to separate, just a perfect marriage shattered by an inexplicable tragedy. But when Patrice disappeared, the already strained relationship between Rob and his stepson Pistol didn't just fracture, it detonated. Pistol looked at Rob and saw something sinister. Rob looked at Pistol and saw unfounded accusations. Between them lay the ghost of the woman they both claimed to love. Investigators worked fast, constructing a timeline from Patrice's appointments and cell phone records. They identified her last known contact, traced her movements that morning, and zeroed in on a window of time so narrow it seemed impossible. 13 minutes. Between 11:47 a.m. and p.m., someone walked into that salon, took Patrice Endres, emptied the cash drawer, and vanished without a single witness, without a scream, without a trace. 13 minutes to execute an abduction so clean, so precise, it seemed almost professional. The immediate suspect? Rob Endres. He knew Patrice's schedule better than anyone. He knew exactly she'd be alone in that salon. He knew she'd be vulnerable during that specific window. The motive was there: a controlling husband losing control, a marriage collapsing, a woman on the verge of escape. It fit perfectly. Except for one problem. Rob had an airtight alibi, ironclad, unbreakable. At the exact time Patrice vanished, Rob was somewhere else entirely, with witnesses who could confirm every minute of his whereabouts. The evidence said he couldn't have been there, but the timeline said who knew her schedule intimately. So, if it wasn't Rob, who was it? Weeks turned into months. Search parties combed the woods. Flyers plastered every telephone pole. Patrice's face stared out from news broadcasts and milk cartons. Her family clung to hope, even as that hope grew thinner with each passing day. Then came Jeremy Jones. Jones was already infamous, a serial killer with a trail of bodies in multiple states. He was violent, methodical, and terrifying. And while in custody, he did something that changed everything. He confessed to kidnapping and killing Patrice Endres. Investigators leaned in. This could be it, the break they needed. Jones provided details, specific details about the crime that hadn't been released to the public. Details that only the kidnapper could possibly know. The kind of information that makes detectives' hearts race because it means you finally got your money. But then Jones did something almost as shocking as the confession itself. He recanted, took it all back, said he made it up, claimed he never touched Patrice Endres, never set foot in her salon, never knew anything about her except what he'd heard through the grapevine of criminal gossip. Most investigators moved on, crossed Jones off the list, chalked up the confession to a serial killer playing games, seeking attention, manipulating the system. But one detective didn't let go. One investigator looked at Jones, his history, his methods, his patterns, and remained absolutely convinced that Jeremy Jones had abducted and murdered Patrice Endres. The confession rang too true, the details too precise, the recantation too convenient. Still, without physical evidence, without proof, conviction was impossible. Nearly 2 years passed. 2 years of Pistol wondering what happened to his mother. 2 years of Rob maintaining his innocence. 2 years of a family suspended in the torture of not knowing. Then, on a cold day in Dawson Forest, Georgia, a hiker stumbled upon skeletal remains behind a church, roughly 11 miles from Tamber's Trim and Tan Salon. DNA testing confirmed what everyone feared. The remains belonged to Patrice Endres. The location sent chills through the investigation team. Dawson Forest wasn't just any woodland area. It was infamous. It was the dumping ground of Gary Hilton, serial killer who'd murdered a young female hiker and disposed of her body in those same dark woods. Suddenly, investigators had a new prime suspect. Hilton fit the profile. He knew the area. He had a history of violence against women. The geographic links seemed too significant to ignore. They investigated. They compared evidence. They looked for any connection between Gary Hilton and Patrice Endres. Nothing matched. No physical evidence tied Hilton to Patrice's murder. No witnesses, salon. No timeline connected him to that 13-minute window. Despite the haunting coincidence of location, Hilton wasn't their killer, which left investigators exactly where they'd been for years, with multiple compelling suspects, zero conclusive evidence, and one devastating question. Who took Patrice Endres? Was it Rob, the controlling husband with the perfect alibi and the intimate knowledge of her schedule? Was it Jeremy Jones, the serial killer whose confession contained details too specific to dismiss entirely? Was it Gary Hilton, despite the lack of evidence? Or was it someone else entirely, a stranger, a customer, a face in the crowd that no one ever suspected? Patrice's remains were found, but the truth remained buried. Her family got closure of a sort, the terrible confirmation that she was gone, but no justice, no answers, no accountability. Pistol lost his mother and gained only questions. Rob lost and gained only suspicion. And somewhere, the person responsible for those 13 minutes walked free, carrying a secret that law enforcement desperately needed someone to reveal. Sometimes the most haunting mysteries aren't the ones we can't solve. They're the ones where all the pieces are there, scattered across the table, but they refuse to form a complete picture. Patrice Endres deserved better than 13 minutes of terror and decades of silence. What do you think happened to Patrice? Was it the serial killer or someone the investigation never even considered? Drop your theory in the comments below. If this story gripped you the way it gripped me, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that refuse to let us sleep at night. Share this video because somewhere out there, someone knows something, and maybe, just maybe, this story will reach them. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and never stop seeking the truth.